I'm going live straight away, just in case we're only going to be here for a few minutes. Right, can I hear you, Jan? Your thing's bobbling around.
Bobbling.
Okay. So, hi everybody. We have had a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Yeah, we may disappear offline. They're coming after us, guys. No, my internet went down. It came back. I was like, oh no, don't worry about it, Jan. Oh no, it's gone down again. You better host it. And then Jan realised that he can't stream me as well as... Anyway, we're here now. I hope you're all okay. Can you hear us? That's an important thing.
Yeah, I think they can.
I'm going to do a bit of AMSR. I'm going to open up this for my throat.
Oh, that was... So he literally just got the stream to a quality where YouTube would accept it when I'm just pressing it, go.
Yeah.
Hello, Roderick.
Oh, I didn't say that, did I? Yeah, OBS. I was like, okay, I'm going to click start streaming and see what it's like. It was like drop frame, went red, and I was dropping hundreds of frames a minute. I was like, this is not going to be good. I'll just restart it. Yeah. It's green.
I was going to get you to pull the latest secret project prototype, because I've changed it since you saw it, but I don't know if it's worth it now.
Well, it's still green. I'm going to go for it. If it's green, it's green.
Go on.
Evening, everybody. I'm glad.
Hello, Mindstammer. Hello, Melicon. Hello, Roderick. Hello, Mikey. Hello, Caboodle.
Hi, Caboodle. My heart is beating with, I think it's adrenaline. Not blood, it's just pure adrenaline.
No, it's just pure adrenaline.
Right. What do I need to do? I'm a bit flustered, so bear with me a moment while I move everything around. Yes.
So meanwhile, let's catch up, because we didn't have a thing last week because Mikey was under the weather.
Yes, I am much better now. Thank you for all of those who reached out.
I'm very glad. Hello, Gerard. So last week I was going to do it during the stream, but instead I just launched it. I launched Toucan, a little mini course, which I had a lot of fun making.
And Jan's got the links ready to show everybody.
Yes. I mean, not here, but they're in... Yeah, all right, I'll go get the links.
Yeah, so we got itch.io, so if you just want to see what it's like, see if it's...
Oh, you want that one as well? All right.
Hey.
We normally do this like half an hour before the stream, but we just got the ability to stream, so...
I wouldn't say that, you know. We're totally organised. I'm going to pull this repo.
Mikey was almost crying, because it's like, what can I do to get you to use the project management software? I don't know. You should choose it. I don't like it. All right. So if you want to play it on itch, I'm really glad you like the course. I enjoyed making it. Haven't made a little mini course in over a year now, and it's a lot of fun. I've actually secretly been working on another one, which we can talk about in a little bit if you like.
You mean the one I'm pulling and about to show everyone?
Yeah. It's raw hot
Top
code.
Secret. Top secret.
Yeah. And it actually had a lot of really weird bugs that took me a long time to figure out.
I think it's really amazing how a game that on the surface looks really simple actually has you scratching your head at several points, because you really need to think through even simple games quite logically, and you'll see why when we get to it in a few moments.
And it's interesting because I was actually playing with the idea of doing a little mini course on Snake, because it's a common one that people want to make, and it's a nice start one. It's actually a really complicated first project, because knowing how to move the head is easy. Getting the tail to follow that path, but at the right distance, and changing that distance is actually surprisingly complicated for a beginner project.
Very much so. I've been starting to work with multiple desktops on Windows. And I didn't cater for this when it came to streaming. So I just need to move Jan around a little bit. So he may end up being jerked around the screen a little.
While we're doing that, Mikey has been working very hard on the LMMS course. We were actually considering launching it today, but there was more work to be done on the editing. So that's going to be probably next week or later in the week, depending on how it goes.
I want to do later in the week, but if not, we will launch it next Monday. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Editing is always lots of fun. But there's an extra bit now where we've got a bit of music playing along with. And it's very similar to with Arda, but yeah, there's music in the music course. Fancy that? I could see your face.
Oh.
Right, I can see you. I can't see the stream. I trust you can still see Jan. And
Yeah,
when I
I
push
can
a
see me.
button in a moment, oh no, I need OBS on this screen. Hold on a minute. Hold on
I
a
mean,
minute.
I
There we
moved
go.
to the wrong place, but I'm going to move myself to the right place now. There we go.
Yeah, you would have frozen for the moment, so I'm gonna put you there.
Ooh, that's a good picture of me
Yeah, I know,
looking like
right?
a potato.
Turns
Why
out
do I look so much like a potato?
it turns out if you're on a different screen, Windows stops streaming your. I don't need to stream his video anymore. Right.
Yeah,
So that's everything there. Please bear with us.
breathe.
And okay, let's move Godot to the right screen as well, and then we're good to Godot.
Nice, nice.
Yay. Right, now I can push this button and show you guys. I'm gonna just switch it over. You should be able to see it, and everybody should be able to see
Yep.
it now. I want guesses in the comments as to what this game might be, because I don't think you can tell from just looking at this. It's gonna
I
be
think you probably could. Also, there's an extra asset that you haven't seen yet.
nice. Do you like the Toucan, by
Yeah.
the way? Jan was very proud of his Toucan earlier, and so was I. What
He
was the
blinks.
program you were using? I thought,
I used Libra Sprite to
yeah.
make the toucan, the bubble, and the cannon. The cannon that you've not seen yet. Scorched Earth, nailed it. Melican for the win. Yep. It was going to be GTA 6, but Rockstar have that trademark. So
I wonder if they got GTA 7. You know when?
Angry Toucan. Good guess. Good guess.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think if you use GTA, you get trademark violations.
Or imprisoned if you do it in real life. So yeah, the game sparked some real nostalgia as well. I ended up going back and watching some videos of old Amiga games. I absolutely loved.
Getting over it. Expedited edition. Yeah, it's a game that I played a lot in my teens and 20s, especially the multiplayer.
Shall I press play?
Yep.
Now, I'm not sure how loud the audio will be. Can I turn the audio
I've
down?
I've lowered the audio,
Awesome.
but feel free to
I'm
turn
going
it
to go
down.
ahead and press play. You guys ready? Here we go. Hey. So, Jan put in some extra buttons just for me as well because I was getting all stroppy.
Oh, they were actually in the original.
Oh, were they? There's
Yeah.
a nudge button. So we've got A and D to go backwards and forwards here, and then Q and E for much more fine control.
Or shoulder buttons, I think, if you're using a controller, which I do recommend.
I would as
Turns
well.
out 8 colors, by the way, is quite a challenge. I have managed it, but only just.
I missed. You don't.
Yes, you did.
You wouldn't have see my face.
Puzzle bubble, top marks, Chris. Can they hear the music? I'm just gonna turn the sound on.
I can't hear the music. It might be becoming.
Oh, I might have muted the music, and I can tell you how to turn the music off. Can you hear the sounds?
No.
Oh, you've muted all the sound. Okay, that's fine.
All the sounds have gone.
Yep, because I put in bubble pop sounds.
Hold on a minute. How's that? Other than quiet. So yeah, this. Tell us about the journey then, Jan, when it came to creating this.
I'm just seeing if they can actually hear the sounds.
I can't hear the sounds.
Do you have the correct sound for Godot, or did you have it still muted?
My computer's muted. It's fine. I was just showing everybody. There we go. It's fine. In fact, for anybody else to hear it, I'm going to have to send it through this audio. So bear with me a moment. Okay.
We are so professional.
Where did the sound go? I can hear that. I might need to relaunch Godot, actually. So
Yeah, you might have to.
if I've changed audio sources. Okay, so let's go ahead. Launch Godot into Bubbles. And let's go. Hello? Hello, Bubbles? No, I can't hear
You
it.
can't hear it. Well, remember the other day we turned Godot all the way down?
Windows didn't remember it earlier, but it's always a possibility. So headphones, yeah, that's fine. More volume options. Volume mixer. I'm still getting used to Windows 11. Some plonker installed at
Down a
once.
bit. Yeah, it should be fine.
I can hear it now.
Weird.
I can
You
hear it
can?
now. It remembered the setting I had for my headphones.
Yep, there it goes.
That's kind of useful.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've turned that right down.
Yep.
Probably up just a little bit more. Otherwise, I can't hear you with Discord audio and everything else.
Well, so there was a lot of very fiddly stuff going on. Most of which to do with the fact that we're using a hexagonal grid for these bubbles. The bubbles are actually represented with three different things. There's a rigid body when he fires, and then it gets removed and placed onto a tile map in a hexagonal grid. And then when you drop them, if you get one that you can drop, they get turned into particles. Or if you pop them, they get turned into particles.
I thought that was really neat, being just swapping things out and making, just make a particle here and fake it being there, which is kind of what game design can be about sometimes. Making it look the part.
It was like, do I really want to, like... Oh...
I used to be brilliant at these type of games.
Yep. Mikey was blaming the geometry being wrong for him not being able to aim earlier.
It's never.
Do you like my cannon, by the way?
I do. Another. So the program you were talking about earlier with the sprite, it reminded me so much of Asprite. Is that the name of the?
It is. It's the open source fork of Asprite.
Oh, so it is actually based on it. Okay, cool.
Or the other way around. I'm not sure. They share a heritage. I don't know the thing. Oh,
I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant at this game. We've got to show them a lose condition.
Well, it's just gonna... So I don't have the lose conditions or the wins conditions doing anything. They just quit. Which Mikey says is a crash. It's not a crash.
Oh, it is. When I lose, it managed to crash just before I lost. How unfortunate.
So yeah, I've been playing with a puzzle bubble clone. I was toying with the idea of local multiplayer because that was such a fun variant. For those of you who never played, when you drop the bubbles, they would appear in the other person's stack. But I think that might be out of scope. I think maybe just a really good single player.
I think it might be for a mini course. I mean, it's something that certainly we want to revisit. We do want to revisit multiplayer. We've done it with Godot Getaway. That was tremendous fun to play and still is.
I mean, online multiplayer is just a challenge anyway, but yeah.
I mean,
especially we'd probably have to do, I mean, unless we start doing some really fancy things with server setups, we'd probably have to do peer-to-peer, and that's not what I would call fashionable in game design these days. Like, it's a bit of a security issue.
Although it's how GTA works, isn't it? GTA 5 uses a peer-to-peer network.
I don't have to type in your IP network.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, it's client-side authorization, but it's not like, I'll just type 192.168.
Oh wait, you're not on my local network. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to win this one, Jan.
I don't think you are, mate. I think you've messed up. But
earlier
we could
on,
show them something fun I've done.
What's that?
You could turn down the difficulty.
I can, so I can. Can I set it to 1? Oh,
no, you can set it to 2.
You can set it to 2. So yes, there is currently a difficulty in here, and the numbers don't refer to the rows; they refer to how many colours you have. And
I like how I'm nodding and shaking my head like they can see me.
Yeah, this was surprisingly easy earlier. Woohoo! And I got near the end, and I realised that actually it can get quite difficult because you don't always get the colour you want. But yes, so we've already integrated a difficulty in there as well, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, GTA Online's peer-to-peer stuff is hack central.
Well, that's the thing, though. If one of the computers is the host, so to speak, then there you go. That's anything can happen on that machine.
Well, everybody's the host. So you just say, oh, yeah, I'm running this, and this is what I'm seeing, so now you can see it too.
Yeah.
So you get random things like everyone has a Russian flag on the server. I remember that happening once.
Oh,
but yeah, there's some fun things happening behind the scenes. I can show some stuff if you like.
That would be awesome. Take us through the code.
Let me share my screen.
I'm going to put... Okay, if you ever see Yang getting really large, that's just me shoving him across the screen ready to do...
And not my diet. I mean, I should point out that the code is not optimized, and there's a few passes I need to do, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, hot code. But one of the things I'm really happy with is the fact that the sprites, although I have various versions of them, but that's the right one. These are the bubbles, and they're just one single sprite. So I'm just using the frames for particles and for the various different sprites and thingamies. And just saying, okay, go here. So I'm saving the resources there. I'm not doing that with the sound effects of the pops because I already had those. I was just using that, and I'm clearly not doing that in the music. But what we've got is we've got a level which has quite a big script. And we've got this line here, which is just a line 2D. What can I show? I can show the aim. The aim is fun. So the aimer was right here. It's got its own little sprite. It used to look like this.
Looks far better as a cannon.
It's got a raycast. And every frame, we're checking the collision point of the raycast, and we're moving the first line of a line 2D, which I've got here, with a texture on it, set to repeat, and we're just drawing to that point. So when I draw to that point, and this raycast is set to collide with the walls and with the bubbles, including the bubbles you shoot.
Yay.
So that's fun. What else do we have? Okay, so here's the fun bit. When you fire a bubble, the bubble exists as a rigid body, and here is our rigid body. And it's going to pick its sprite based on our lovely sprite texture right here. And when it gets spawned, it gets told what type it is. It's got a set get to change color, and that's just going to tell it to set the type to number 8. I can actually just... So I recently changed this, and this is dead code, so let's just... You know what? There we go. Just removed a whole line of code. So it's setting its own sprite. When it hits anything that isn't the wall, so the ceiling and the bubble, so bubble is collision layer 2, ceiling is collision layer 3, it's going to call lock bubble and check game over. Check game over is just, are you below the line? Which right now I have hard-coded, but I'm going to change that. If you're locked in place, we're going to emit the signal with our position, local position, ourself as an object, and what type we are, what color we are. And then comes the fun bit, because we can go to bubble stopped. Here we go. First, we're going to get the position in the tile map, but the tile map can move. So first, I need to get that position as my local position.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go hex to local. So from the hex, which is what I'm calling the tile map, it's a hex map. I'm going to do to local using this position. Then I need to convert the world position to a tile map location. So I'm using world to map. And then I'm setting its X and its Y with the type. And the types are the same as they are on the frame. So if I go to my tile map, we can see right here, I can actually draw these in. Which means if we wanted to, we could pre-make levels.
Yes, I remember some of these. I think it was more Arkanoid clones, but they used to have certain levels with gaps in that would make things...
There's gaps in, or you get like a special star and you hit them, whatever color you hit it with, it would all vanish from the screen. Then we're going to remove the rigid body, because we can't have the rigid body just bouncing around, making a nuisance of itself. Then we're going to add to the now empty array, well, we're going to change the array matching bubbles to be just our bubble, just the one we've just landed. We're starting a timer. We're changing bubbles checked to be blank. And then we're going to check all of our neighbors. And checking all of our neighbors is, okay, ready? Append this cell to bubbles checked. So bubbles checked was empty. Now it's got the cell I'm on. Go get my neighbors. And here's where that bug was. You remember that bug where you would hit it from a certain angle and it wouldn't show?
Yes.
It's because we've got a hex, which means every other line is offset. So I need to check, are we on an even row or not?
That's why sometimes you'd hit it from the left and it would work. If you hit it from the right, it would go...
It wouldn't. And then you'd hit the next one on the left, it would be fine.
And then another
That
one
was the
would have
clue.
dropped over there.
That took 3 or 4 days to track down. That was a really irritating little bug. But anyway, so we'll check
Well,
that. And then
it's part of the not problem, but it's part of the challenge that will exist whenever you work with a grid that isn't square. You're not just moving up and down, left and right. You're moving diagonally, essentially.
yeah, but the diagonal changes.
Yeah.
For example, here the vector 1 1 is on the odd rows, but it's not on the even rows. That's not an adjacent square because they're really squares, potentially hexes. Okay, so then we're going to check for n in neighbors. So for every entry in this array, if cell plus whatever this value is not already checked and is not blank, because I don't want to check all blank ones. I need both of these, otherwise you get a Stack Overflow error. Then we're going to check, is the neighbor cell got the same type, the same color as the one we've got right now? So get cell value. If it is, add it to matching bubbles, and then check from there. So basically, if you're next to me, and you're the same type, and I haven't checked you already, add you to the list, and then tell you to do the same thing. But I'm already on the list, so don't check me. We're not going to have an infinite recursion here. And so after half a second, which is easy enough to cover the whole map, the timer fires, and I'm going to check how many matching bubbles do we have. Check spawn counter. What does that do?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because this in itself is a little bit of a dive into a search algorithm.
Yep. Spawn counter is every 10 shots, the thing's going to come down. Originally they spawned, now they're moving. So I need to rename that function. So check, do we need to? Now tell the player you're allowed to fire again. Then, and here's the annoying thing, I've got an empty variable called bubbles. I want you to check all of them, every single one, get me the type. I actually don't know what I'm keeping the type. Oh, that's old code. Okay. If there's no bubbles left, you've won, which currently means quit.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we also have to check what remaining colors there are, because we only want to spawn colors that are still on the board.
Yes.
So we've got to do this again and use the information in a different way, which is why we're not just reusing it, because, this has to happen before. This happens first, and then we check the win condition. They're out of sequence. And now what we're doing is, if this available bubbles array does not have the color that I've just found, add it. If it does, ignore it. When you've searched through every single bubble on the thing, then you can emit signal, prepare bubbles, available bubbles. And now the bubbles, the next bubble thing knows, I've now got these next bubbles. Next bubble, here we go. These are your available colors.
And that's important, because you don't want to be playing a game where you've removed all the yellows and a yellow appears. Now, you will still get a yellow. If you fire off a yellow and the next one is a yellow, you'll still get a yellow. It's only when...
And that's why I had to get them out of sequence, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm coming out of shared screen now.
I shall make you bigger again.
So there's no pedagogy in what I've just said. This is all very up and down and round and inside out. And
it's
boy, you
part
send
of
me
the...
inside out.
Yeah, it's part
but
of the setup.
There was a lot of discovery in there. Why am I so high?
I don't know. Why are you so high? What?
That's a good question.
Is that a question we really... Is that better? That's better. Yeah.
Yep, that's better. So yeah, that's what I'm playing with this Toucan bubble.
Toucan bubble? I mean,
I don't know what to call it.
Yes, so the nostalgia trip, that was interesting. Watching some of the games that I used to absolutely love, and also listening to them back again, because they had some pretty repetitive music that I didn't seem to mind as a kid. But as an adult, I'm like, what?
It's like dentistry after a while, isn't it?
We've moved on so far when it comes to music in games. Really have. And I know, like, the early games were 90% technical limitation. I mean, the PC speaker was only 1 bit, let's face it, then sound cards came along. But yeah, it's amazing. There's a bit of a chat about a week or two ago on the music channel on the Discord about trackers.
Mm.
That was my first sort of introduction into computer music way back in 80 something, late 80s perhaps, with my Amiga. Bubble
Mhm.
Birdly. I like it.
Bubble Birdle.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was amazed, but yeah, listening back to it, I'm
I
like,
mean, if you want to write music for this game, Mikey,
yeah, I've got too much to do.
I
Although
was very
if it was in the
pleased
style
with
of the
it.
original,
Right.
I would just put on an arpeggio going and just keep that going.
I remember it well. Many an hour in that game.
But this is now recorded, so you could just clip that into the the Yan.
I could just have the music be doing that, but I think there'd be a copyright issue.
I
So
didn't
yeah, I
recognize
found a
it. You'll be
tune that
fine.
was kind of not my fault. Your ears don't know what I'm talking about. I found a tune on Open Game Art that is CC BY. So if we use it, I'll put the credits and all the rest of it. That was kind of in the right feel, but it felt very retro and 8-bit, which is understandable. Which meant when I started making the sprites, I found myself making very pixely sprites.
Yeah.
And obviously those walls need to be prettier, that floor needs to be prettier. I've got a background from Kenny that I'll probably switch to something else.
Yes, it's amazing
Kind of
how
wish we had a pixel art shooter.
the music, as we know with Godot Getaway, the music itself can change how the game plays and how the game feels.
Yep.
Chip tunes.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I'm already enjoying playing it, especially with 8 colors. It's very challenging. Like 6 is my default. That's what it thinks is the normal.
Yeah, so when Jan showed it to me earlier, I just typed 10 into the color field. He was like, "You're going to lose." I'm like, "I'll be fine." I didn't know what 10 meant. I thought it was just the number of rows, not the variations in color. I'm like, this is quite challenging. I don't even know if 10 is actually possible. I suppose it would be with the right combination.
It's a bit like when I made Zoo Blocks. I didn't actually program it to be solvable.
Well, it just started off as a little fun project and took off from there.
Well, Zoo Blocks is I was traveling and I wanted to play a specific game that I couldn't find, so I wrote one.
What better reason to create something? I'm just going to shift you to the right a little.
I don't know. I like being pretty far left.
There we go.
Ooh, there was a black thing.
There was. It's the darkness. It's the void.
That's usually inside.
Awesome.
So yeah, there's my little retro thing. I've been enjoying playing with it. I think we could probably make a little mini course out of it. I have also been playing with the new current build of Godot 4, and it's looking more stable and lots of fun. I don't have any major new systems made in the prototype, which is why I haven't fired that up. I'm hoping I get to see students' versions of Toucan soon, because that was a lot of fun to make.
Or, especially if you manage to take the principles behind it and develop something on the side with it. I mean, that's also incredibly awesome. Yeah.
And make your own mechanics.
So, shall we hint at what the other idea was that you were talking about earlier? I don't want to jump the gun on it.
Sure. What are we talking about?
The game idea we were talking about earlier with the multiplayer, what we could play.
Oh. So I think you're talking about making this a multiplayer.
Kind of. We ventured into some other stuff as well. So multiplayers, this would be an amazing game where, if you traded anything that you dropped went over to the other side.
So in the versus mode in the original Puzzle Bobble, sorry, I've got a cat behind me, which is meaning it's very hard to be at the right angle. If you manage to drop a few, so popping a bunch is just hit some points. But if you can get rid of the ones that are supporting the ones below it, they'll all fall. But that number of bubbles in random colors will now float up on someone else's side. But of course, you're next to each other, so it's all very competitive. It would be great to do that online.
Oh,
That is out of scope. I mean, that
yeah.
is
Oh, yeah, yeah. Definitely
well
out
out
of
of
scope for a
scope.
small thing. But maybe as part of a larger course, it might be pretty awesome. Oh,
Maybe, like we were having this conversation when I do the Godot 4 complete course, which is not what we're calling it. Which would be like discovering Godot, which is not what we're calling it, but Godot 4, which is not what we're calling it. Oh no, we are calling Godot 4 Godot 4. Mikey was like, you could do a whole section on multiplayer. I'm like, I think that might be a bit much for beginners and intermediates.
yeah,
Like, I
that
think
is
we could do
true.
something very simple with like, here's how the keywords work and remote procedural calls work. But I think after that, you have to say, and if you want to learn how to do that, this is the direction you should go in, because
Mm.
that's a course in. I mean, that's a field of study in itself.
That is true. Yeah. You can't just. In some ways, you could throw something together, but ultimately, being on the same local network as someone is a completely different experience to across the internet. There's time delays and everything else to consider at that point. Although,
Yep.
with that type of game, saying that it's not going to be it's not going to be as important timing wise as a first person shooter or something that's more of a Twitch game or a racing game.
Yeah. Well, so there is an impulse to, or yeah, I guess impulse is the right word, to go faster than the other player because there's more chance of winning if you go faster.
Yeah.
Also, more chance of messing up. But you're also going to want to see what the other person's doing.
Also, maybe a dual screen
So we
thing
have
where
to
you can
sync that.
so you can see what's going on. Yes, that would be
But
interesting.
I really don't want to mess around with like creating a server, and I really don't
No.
want to mess around with Steam API. So
Well,
that leaves direct IP.
well, that's one of the things that we kind of segued into earlier. When it comes to a multiplayer game, if you did want to have it hosted on a server, then there's an inherent cost to that. That server has to be
Mm.
running, whether it's your own local machine that's connected to and that of course opens up a
Even
can
if
of
you're
worms
using
itself.
free and open source software, or you wrote it yourself from scratch, you still have to keep it running.
Yeah, and there's just a power cost to that, even if nothing else. So yeah,
Mm.
that's always going to be a barrier to entry with anything that is. Um,
Timing would be an issue.
yeah, I
Sorry,
just
but
glanced across that as well. Yeah, it's always going to be an issue timing wise. I mean, if you're a second or two behind, that could be the difference between winning and losing when you're right at the very end. You think you've won, and then
well,
two
you have
seconds
half a
later,
second between you hitting a ball and it doing the
mm,
calculation. So you could get away with a half second thing, but anything more than that's going to be a problem. Out of order packets would be a problem. But really, the only thing that's critical is how many things are being sent over.
yeah, or what's being sent over. Because if the same game was being played on both computers, essentially, then you'd only have to pass the physics information across, and then each computer locally could work out what was going on based upon that.
That leads to all kinds of desync issues
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can
because
see. Yeah,
the physics is going to be calculated slightly differently based
this
on
is
different machine
exactly
speeds.
why when you start talking about multiplayer, it can suddenly
Yeah.
end up being a very deep topic because desync. Yeah, we can't do it that way because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, I'm going to start seeing things on my screen that you don't see. And that's going to lead to issues when balls suddenly start appearing. And like, where did these come from? Um,
Sorry,
one
I'm
thing
a
I do like,
12-year-old boy at the moment. I
I
don't
could
want.
tell. One thing that I do quite like is we seem to be starting a series of courses on create your classic arcade with Godot.
Yeah, the Godot arcade.
Yep.
You heard it
The
here
Garcade.
first. The arcade. No, that um, in all seriousness, recreating some of the original games does give you a much more deeper respect into
Mm.
that. Then, as I was saying right at the beginning, they're not quite as simple as it might appear to be on the surface, and you could probably do this game without physics as well. That's
Yeah.
one of the early discussions we were having. Do we use physics to get all of the bounces and things like that basically for free, because that's just built into the physics engine. But at the same time, that's not how, I'm pretty sure that is not how the original is done.
No. No, you could do this with areas, but then you're having to write the reflections and so forth that you wouldn't have to worry about. So it was just,
Yeah.
what's the gain?
I suppose, and it might not be important on today's mobile hardware, but obviously physics calculations take up CPU cycles. So if that's running on a much lower powered device, like an older phone, maybe a 4 or 5 year old Android device, then you might be bottlenecked or something along those lines when it comes to calculating a basic bounce. I don't think so with even 5-year-old hardware these days. I think you'll be fine with that.
I don't know. I think we're out of my thing right now. So if you're wondering why I keep sitting weird and leaning back at a shot and wriggling, it's because 2 days ago I pulled my back, and I keep getting back spasms. But Caboodle is sitting behind me and refusing to move because it's cold, so I can't sit properly in the chair. So my back hurts. So that's why I keep like.
This is where the back spasms have come from, isn't it?
They might be.
If you've not been able to sit because a cat's been pushing your back out.
Well, I mean, she's done that for months, but yeah.
Final straw. No. Back pain isn't fun.
It's not. But yeah, I think the Toucan bubble has some potential as a mini course.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
a few levels, a few difficulty sliders, a menu. It's pretty close to done. There's still a couple of bugs where random balls over there will fall down, but so many fewer than before.
So, we talked about Pac-Man the other day, didn't we?
We did talk about Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. And I went, we could call it Om Nom Nom. And then you told me, that's what Pac-Man means.
Well, so in Japanese, puka 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 is yum 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 yum. At least that's why he makes that noise.
Nom, nom. So yeah, I would be very interested in hearing what old, well, not necessarily old, but classic games you guys would love to
Breakout. But
yeah, what are your?
I feel like everyone's
ones?
done Pong and Breakout.
Pong would be, I dare I say it, so easy with just the physics.
Physics, area.
Yeah.
Pretty much done.
You just.
I mean, your real thing is you don't want to run out of momentum, so you have to apply an impulse every time you hit the bat or the wall, because otherwise, eventually, it will slow down.
Well, there was that old thing, wasn't there, with Pong? As the bar was moving up, if you managed to hit it more towards one of the ends, it would go off at a greater and greater angle.
Yeah, it was actually, they split the bat up into different areas, and they changed the speed and the direction depending where you were hit from.
Yeah, I remember playing again, this was back on the Amiga. It was a very weird game. It was basically air hockey, but you played against aliens. I can't remember what it was called, but it had some really good music in it. But you'd be able to obviously shove your mouse forward, and that would give more velocity or less velocity. And one of the things that you could do is it had some sort of physics on it as well, because as it was bouncing, it would slowly slow down, and if you got it wrong, it would come back towards you. I don't know how that was supposed to work.
I did actually toy with air hockey as one of the original courses for discovering Godot. But I was getting such high speeds that I was breaking physics. Like the collisions weren't registering. And if you can't go that fast, it's not really air hockey. Joust could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Joust could be interesting. I mean, Tron Cycles would be fun, because I remember playing that back in the 80s, the Tron arcade game. I'd probably call it something else. I
mean, Asteroids is there was an Asteroids with a black hole that I played lots. There's one of the, I'm really going back to early days here. That was a lot of fun. Then there was another one where you used to have to fly a little ship sort of like into a cave and down, but you also had to collect fuel as you go. I can't remember what that was called.
Yeah.
And when you reached the bottom, you had to like rescue or pick up a
And there was
package.
gravity, and the thrust was actually the longer
Might
you
be
held the button,
called
the more you
thrust.
thrust.
I think it was
It
called
might be called
thrust. Yeah, lunar lander, those sort of
Lunar
things.
lander.
Hi, Daz.
I was also thinking about that one. I forgot the name, and Mikey kept shouting tank. It wasn't called tank. It was back in the 70s, where you had two artillery positions, and you would take turns getting the angle and the power and just lobbing things into the scenery to try and hit each other. Gravatar, Lemmings.
Oh no! Love Lemmings. That soundtrack is stuck with me throughout.
I
the
did
years.
actually consider Worms, but destructible 2D terrain
That's interesting.
is kind of annoying and hard to do.
I went into a bit of a YouTube and reading black hole when we talked about Worms the other day. I was like, oh, how could you do it? And I was like, oh, this is quite complex.
Yeah, they
it
really
got
put
deep
boats out.
very quickly.
Yep. We've got some more people. Do you want to show off our bubble game, which still needs a name?
Yeah, let's name the bubble game whilst we're here. And
I mean, Puzzle Birdle was fun, but
is it descriptive? Toucan bubble popper. Right. You're like, no, Mike. No.
Let's try an idea like that, but good.
Okay, we should be able to see Godot now.
I can see it. Oh, you've got it on stupid level.
I've got it on the easy setting. Shall I put it at 10?
If you want.
I'm going to put it at 9.
Yeah. So all these colours are from a
Well, that's a good
colour
start over
scheme
there.
I found. Specifically Kawaii 16 from Low Spec. I liked some of the colours. We did check this through a colorblind simulator, and it works out well for some but not others. I'm thinking I might put in a colorblind mode where it just replaces these with numbers. Like inside a bubble, but...
Yep, that's definitely one way to make sure it is going to be playable.
You got a free one there. I like watching Mikey play this because it makes me feel very competent.
Well, it is quite a challenging game. You do have to do a bit of planning ahead.
I only left this aiming thing in for you, by the way. Like, you should try it with the aim switched off.
No.
Do you want to turn the aim off?
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Open the player scene.
Doo-doo-doo.
You can just double click on it and that's fine. Open the player scene. And go to... I can't see it because it's Discord. It's the line 2D. Hide the line 2D.
That one there. Okay.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Tuki, have mercy on your soul.
Oh dear.
Those don't match. You gotta die.
Ah,
A shot.
I ain't gonna die. It's like, when did this bubble game get rather violent? You're gonna die. I'm not gonna die. I'm too young.
I mean, you've been killing all of these bubbles.
Yes, they've got a vendetta.
I like thinking that the brown ones are made of chocolate.
Aiming without the guide is pretty hard.
Especially now that I got rid of that little triangle thing we used to have. And replaced it with a cannon.
I mean, place your bets. Am I going to lose? Probably, actually. Don't bet on this game.
I mean, the idea is that the line is supposed to be a training mode, or if you've just lost a game, finish him. Bubbleality. Nice. Good recovery.
Ultra bubble.
I don't know why you put that back there, but nice. Mikey's plan is to fill up as close to the line as possible. Nailed it.
I did that earlier without realising. Do I want the line back on? No. Hey, 2 for free.
Squashality. The balls could be little truffles. That'd be fun.
You can't see my face, but I
think that it'd be nice to
point.
animate these bubbles. But... Yep. I would think it'd be nice to animate these models, but I don't really have that skill set, so I didn't want to spend like an hour playing with it.
Alright. Nope. Didn't get that bounce right at all.
It.
Oh no, have they dropped down? Oh, I'm screwed. Hehe.
Put the light back on.
Okay, I don't think... I'm going to be very lucky if I get like a couple of blues or something, but... Oh, I've got one blue.
Ah! I fixed that bug. I did!
Oh, what? Oh dear. Oh, it's okay. It doesn't count anyway.
Yeah, it's actually offline.
There you go. Oh, no. Oh, did you see that, guys? The game crashed before I could lose.
It didn't crash, you lost. Do you want the line back so you can try that properly?
No, it's fine. Let me get us back on. Me and that, and there we go. Oh, yeah, it is challenging without the line on.
Yep. Oh, Cat, can I have some chair? Give me that.
Squash out.
Thank you. Oh.
So Bubbles.
Oh no, you can post it. It's fine.
He might not be able to. I think by default links don't work.
No, but one of us should be able to do it.
Yeah.
Or you can put it in the Discord. Like by all means, put it in a showcase.
Yeah. Love to see what you guys.
Meanwhile, we should probably talk about, in case you don't know, there's a game jam going on that we're partial hosts for, and we should probably talk about that.
The
so I'm going to go get the
Godot
links.
Game Jam. I said that correctly. I did have to think about it. Two.
Yep,
Second one.
but you missed the two. Let me get the things.
So we got the.
I'm just gonna Google search it. Found it.
Nailed it. Google's really useful. Google was working for me earlier. It was quite sad.
Okay, the Godot Jam 2 is now live. You have, I think, 7 days left. And the theme is energy source. And you can be in a team or by yourself. And you can use pre-made assets if you credit them and you have the rights to use them. Both of those are important. Or you can make all the assets yourself. And yeah, it's a thing you should consider.
And if you partner up with someone, it can really help things as well. It gives you a much better insight into being able to create a game. I mean, the very
first time you and I met face to face, we basically had an impromptu game jam.
Yeah, it was Cube Dude Kickabout.
Kickabout.
And so we just lumped assets together and just and we created a game that everybody enjoyed for the wrong reasons, but you know what? Everybody enjoyed it, so that's fine.
Oh, it was great. We did it in 4 hours, and it was basically, can we, I was still learning Godot at that point. Can we use Blender assets in Godot? And then, okay, I've got a physics ball here. How easily can we control it? And it turns out very poorly because we have a cylinder. That's great fun. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I use Unreal 5? We've actually had 2 people asking if they can use Unity. Although I suspect it's because they hadn't heard of the Godot game engine, so they didn't recognize the word.
Possible. I don't think that would be in the spirit of the game jam, to be quite honest. And I think it would be spotted straight away. You know, by default, all of the game engines seem to have an aesthetic to them. You can usually tell an Unreal game. You can usually tell like vanilla, where you haven't gone in and written custom shaders and everything. You can usually tell if a game's done in a certain engine. So I wouldn't use Unreal 5 for it.
No.
I mean, you could practice in Unreal 5 and then create it in Godot. That would be fine. I don't know why you would do that, but you could do that.
You could make Unreal 5 in Godot.
Just like a mode. Make it as a tool script.
No, just make it... I mean, Godot is a... Don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
Emulate another game engine within Godot.
Yeah. I don't really want to get into this engine that's better than that engine.
He's fishing. I know he's fishing.
Yeah, it's just not what we do, so let's not do that.
No, it's all down to the artists at the end of the day. You can make a Godot game look absolutely gorgeous, and I'm pretty sure you can make an Unreal game look absolutely rubbish.
Yep.
Are there some Ununity jam or Unreal jam? Oh dear. Yeah, but joking aside, joining in with a game jam is a great way of being able to focus for a couple of days or weeks. I think the Godot jam is what? Is it a month-long one or is it 2 weeks? I can't remember.
I think it's 10 days. Just checking.
So just under 2 weeks. That's the case.
You have 8 days, 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 20 seconds from now, with a 60-second delay. So that's entirely wrong.
Star terms conditions apply.
Yeah.
Time was correct at the time of recording.
Game jams are a great way to learn. They're a great way to have fun, and working with someone else is a wonderful way to improve your skill set.
And also a great way of improving your communication as well. If you do work with an artist in the future, or work with a coder if you're an artist, then it's a great way to be able to understand the other person speak.
Well, every project we make together, Mikey and I,
we learn so
where
much.
we're using the assets that he makes in the code that I make, we improve in our own field because our workflows have to get better, our way of communicating has to get better.
Mike, make sure the oranges are at the bottom in the middle of your mesh, please.
Do you remember that moment in Godot Getaway when we were prototyping it and you were so happy you made some new buildings and they looked great, and then I realized that I would drive through them and fall through the world, and it was because the origin was in the wrong place, so the collision was way up here somewhere.
It looked fine.
It looked great. It wasn't until I started driving around the place. Like, there's something wrong with this building.
I usually use these buildings to help me go around a corner. Didn't work out so well that time.
God, I guess it was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. Perhaps we can do a remake later on in Godot 4 with new and improved.
I mean, we're going to have to remake some of the stuff for Godot 4 because it's just going to be a very different workflow. I mean, even things like Zoo Blocks is going to be very different in Godot 4. Godot 4.
Godot 4.
I also think we should make a multiplayer version of, like an online multiplayer version of Cube Did Kickabout.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
But we run across the same problem there, right? So we'll see.
Lots of ideas, not enough time.
Yep. So yeah, we are coming up to the hour. So do people have questions, comments, thoughts, interpretive dance, jingles, poems about daffodils?
Or if you'd like to troll for a few more minutes, looking at you.
No, I don't like the trolling.
Trolling. Do.
So I discovered this about myself recently. I don't understand teasing as humor.
Ah.
And it's because I am very slightly neurodivergent, and I can't tell when people aren't being serious when they do it. So it just sounds mean to me. And the amount of times friends have said something joking, and I've just been all upset by it. And then afterwards, neither of us can understand what was going on. And looking back now, I can see it. And I think it's why I don't get trolling, because I know a lot of people troll, and everyone enjoys it.
It is a form of teasing when it's not malicious, yeah. Yeah,
that's the thing, is I can't tell the difference. So I just, every time I see it, it's like, yeah, I'm not taking part in that.
To be fair,
if I get involved in that, I'm going to feel bad.
There's, with text on screen, it's very hard to not read it in the mood you're currently in. So if you're feeling stressed and anxious, you're going to read it in a completely different way. I often am. Well, I did that today. I misread a teasing text, but I was just like so focused and everything. Yeah. I was just like, I've got someone smiling over there who sent the text. Oh.
I do like the idea of doing Pac-Yan.
Pac-Yan.
Although I'd rather do it with Toucan with a little beak. Because Toucan beaks are amazing.
Would he have an advantage? Yeah. Perhaps
I mean,
it's a
that's a whole
different.
gameplay mechanic right there.
But you can always eat one ahead, so you kind of got a
Yes, but you
disadvantage.
can't turn. You can only turn certain corners.
Or you'd have to plan your route. It'd be interesting actually implementing a similar AI strategy as the original Pac-Man did, where all the ghosts had different
Priorities.
search patterns. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, it
Give
was.
them all different
I
personalities.
never realised that. I thought they just moved around to come and get you. And one of them actually moves away from you all the time.
Unless certain criteria, right? Yeah.
Yeah, really love that one. Pac-Yan. As long as it's got you having a voiceover go waka that you just repeat it.
Om nom, om nom, om
Om
nom,
nom
om
om
nom.
nom om nom.
That's going to get really boring very quickly.
Not if we put a beat over it. Om nom om nom.
I did have fun putting the pops in. Each of the particles has its own pop, and they have one of 7 that they can make. So each one's going to sound different.
So is that a random selection of 7, or is it the blue ones sound like this and the orange ones sound like nope? It's just randomly picked. I mean, little things like that really add to the character of a game, and they also add longevity to the game because if they were the same sound constantly, your
I'm also very
brain
proud of
will
the
pick
little
up on that.
pop particle I made, which is the same particle, the same image of the whatever bubble pop you've just popped 4 times in random directions,
And slightly faded.
and they fade out over time. I'm using a color ramp
There you go. Reusing assets without having to make dedicated ones.
and a scale ramp as well.
You're applying what you've learned about particles with particles. Yeah, because it is a particle. Yeah.
Yeah, now's that for cross-discipline
I know,
use of the
right?
same thing.
It's brilliant. Right. We are at the hour almost.
Yeah, close enough. And I think we're slowing down.
Pass me coffee. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Pac-Yan sound. Yan 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 yan.
Yan, 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 yan.
Pac-Yan and Jaws.
Ayan, ayan. Do, 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 do. Ayan, ayan. Do, 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 do.
Well, Dance
Yeah,
of the
we-
Necromancer. What's it called?
Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yeah. That's an interesting game, but you could have an offbeat one where you can only move. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe Toucans could chase Yan. Yeah, maybe the Toucans are the ghosts, and then how they turn corners doesn't matter.
But it's my toucan. Why would the toucan be chased unless it's a hug?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. One project at a time. I mean, these little mini courses are basically me keeping my hand in while we're getting ready for the huge Godot 4 stuff, and Mikey's busy on LMMS.
Lumps.
Do, 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 do.
You can only grab them. Yeah. I think we should definitely incorporate music deeply into one game that we do.
I mean, yes, but then we have to make the music. And that's the problem.
We've got enough material just from tonight. I just need to cut it up and put it in.
Okay. Any news on the next stretch goal? Yes, Mikey. Any news on the next stretch goal?
I can do a total, and I'll update you all on the Discord later on. Because I need to dive. Yeah, I need to dive into the stuff. We were about £117 from it.
Yes.
Last week
and
or
you
just
should
before
probably
last
tell
week?
people when that's going to close down.
That's at the end of the month.
At the end of the month. So
Yeah.
or at the beginning of the December. So basically very soon. Speaking of,
when I
for those
remember
of
to
you
go
who
to the
live-
website and remove the button.
Yep. For those of you who live in the US, because I'm not going to have a chance to say it beforehand online, happy Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Because it's the thing they do.
There's turkeys and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's turkeys and stuffing.
I remember when I was living in the US and I was teaching a course on theatre history, and a particular class was pre-revolutionary French theatre. We get to the end of the lesson, I says, okay, any questions? And someone says, do you celebrate July the 4th? No. Any other questions? Why
we
not?
we lost.
We lost. Does anyone have any questions about what we just talked about for an hour and a half? How about Thanksgiving? We didn't talk about that. Didn't we?
I'm talking about it now. Awesome. So yeah, Gerald, look out on the Discord. I will let you guys know later tonight on where we are with it.
Yep, and I'm gonna go get some dinner.
That sounds good. I ate before stream. I'm not going to have a second dinner. Not today.
Bye.
I don't know where the button is.
Press it.